Hare Krishna. I apologize that I can't be there in person, but circumstances are such as they are. And as you know, I'm Brahma Tirtha. Somehow I'm the director of the BI, and I was one of the original members back in the 70s at the Life Comes from Life conference. So I shall share with you a brief PowerPoint on what the BI is doing and where we're going and where we hope to end up. And I hope that this offers some inspiration. I wish I was there for questions, but I'm easy to reach. My email is bobcohen@ivs.edu. So anybody can write me anytime, and I am glad to discuss. I'm going to do this with a little bit of a PowerPoint. What does the Bhaktivedanta Institute do for the 21st century? Well, I'm going to talk about the purpose of the BI. And Prabhupada in 1975 or 76, his secretary sent a letter to all the GBCs, send me all your PhDs and scientists. Well, 5 of us showed up. Myself, a minor player, but Jnana, Madhava, Srup Damodar, and Sadaputta. And he wanted us to deal with the issue of life comes from life. And in 1975, you can see there were 5 of us. When we revived, tried to get the BI revived, we went off of Prabhupada's 1976 letter. Yes, we require many PhDs for our Bhaktivedanta Institute for Higher Study, which is the name we adopted, Prabhupada's original name. That was in that letter to Rupanuga. Then in 2019, we had a major conference, and the picture's a little blurry, but we had about 50 PhD devotees come from all over the world, from Russia and Ukraine and South America and India. We've had the Srup Damodar Maharaj people, which got a little disenfranchised, but we gave them tickets to come, and we got along great. And we also met with Jnana, who had gone his own path, but we keep very friendly relationships. And Madhava, who's now Madhava Puri Swami, we also collaborate with him. The idea of the BI is we're doing Brahminical service. When we do Brahminical service, a mistake that was made in past BI iterations is trying to manage those doing Brahminical service. We don't manage Brahmins, we actually facilitate them. And that's our mood. And our 2019 conference was a great success. We had 450 people come for opening night. The #1 person in the world for sponsoring consciousness and science work, Stuart Hamroff, was our keynote speaker. And we had Brenda Dunn from the Princeton Environmental Anomaly Research Lab come. And then we broke out into 2 days of breakout groups we only allowed 150 in that building, and we were full. In 1972, in a letter to Balavanta, Prabhupada set the mood. He wanted to recruit more and more among the intelligent class of men. And in the BI, every week, I get a call from someone who says, what can I do to work with you? And they're all PhDs in philosophy, science, sociology, etc. They need an engagement, and the BI is there to facilitate. We work with evolution narratives and cosmology narratives as the science advisors for the TOVP. And the 5th canto is the most mysterious of the 12 cantos. It's the speed bump on the way to the 10th canto. We're going along. We have some cosmology in second and third canto, and various philosophical stories. Then we hit the fifth canto, which is a speed bump to force us to slow down and think deeper. And we have a whole group of astronomers, astrophysicists and philosophers and Sanskritists, most importantly, working to decipher the fifth canto, following up on the wonderful work of Sariputta. And at the BI, we stand tall because we're on the shoulder on one side of Damodar for his incredible ability to meet important people and make them friends, and Sariputta as the intellectual genius of the BI. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that. Some of the areas we work in are theology, philosophy, metaphysics. As Prabhupada would say, that philosophy needs to be combined with religion. If you have religion without philosophy, it's just sentiment or fanaticism. And philosophy without religion is just mental speculation. So scientists often are hopping on one leg, physics. We need two legs, metaphysics and physics, to understand the phenomenological world. In the 21st century, we now have a headquarters. I'll show you a picture. This is our library. We have an extensive library donated from various professors to us. We're trying to increase scientific literacy among the devotional community. And of course, as I mentioned, support for the TOVP. Here we have some of our core members. Vishaka is visiting us, who participates, and Pranada was visiting to introduce a book. On the left is Tamarparni, one of our board of directors, and our best researcher on cosmology. There is the wonderful Akandadi, who is really a lot of the intellectual force behind what we do. Any of you who have not seen his Atma Paradigm, go to YouTube. It's 30 amazing lectures on science and philosophy. You won't be bored for a minute. 30 wonderful lectures that he finished recording a year ago. It's right on YouTube, Atma Paradigm. On the right is our wonderful Prishni, who's heads our cosmology section and as our treasurer, board of directors, and a brilliant mathematician. This is our new headquarters. Through the grace of Hridayananda Maharaj's Family Trust, we now have the former home for the president of the University of Florida. We're just finishing a remodel of it. We have our library and guest rooms where our BI members and outside visitors can come and brainstorm with us. And we've had some significant guests already at the house. When the remodel is done, we'll do many programs and have a broadcast studio. Here, a little cartoon. I thought I had the answer to the meaning of life, but everything canceled out, which is what happens when you have science without metaphysics. So some of the books we're working on is putting the Atma Paradigm in a book. We have a lecture series by our PhD, Pracharananda, called Leaps of Faith and Doubt. And this is a study of epistemology and science at, I would say, a high school level. Very, very well done. And that's every Sunday at 10 o'clock. That lecture occurs. It's on our webpage. Our webpage is bihstudies.org, Bhaktivedanta Institute for Higher Studies, bihstudies.org. Krishna and the Quark is a book by our quantum physicist Murli Gopal, which is in pre-press at the North European BBT. We have another book coming out, The Globe in the Bhagavatam. Some devotees think the earth is flat. We deal with that from the point of view of science. We have Yogeshwar Son of Pilot wrote a chapter. We have Prabhupada extensive quotes, extensive Shastra. What is the globe earth about? Vertical Dimensions of Bhumandala is one of the mysteries of the fifth canto, done by our double PhD in Ukraine, Dvija Govinda. We've just published the proceedings from our 2019 conference. We have a major Puranic cosmology conference. We had 2 minor workshops and a major conference coming up November 17th, worldwide conference, and we'll obviously publish from that. Our Prabhupada in Science series is beginning with Yogeshwar as our editor-in-chief of that, bi-monthly publications, short 15, 20-page publications on relevant topics in a lively format. We work with Gopinath Prabhu and MD on the effects of the audible Mahamantra repetition on heart rate variability. I won't go into more detail on that now, but it's quite fascinating. So these are some of the projects we're working on. I wish I could be there live to answer your questions. To go a little more of where the BI is headed. Many devotees, especially those who are engineers and scientists, build a firewall. During the day, they're absolute atheists, and at night they come home and offer arti. Prabhupada understood this firewall. It doesn't need to be there, and part of the BI is a place where we can tear down that firewall, because what goes on in the day and at night, they can coalesce, but it takes hard work. I'll give you an example. Take the 5th canto. How do you decipher the 5th canto? Well, just 4 verses, Sadaputa's Mysteries of Sacred Universe, a brilliant analysis explaining different ways of understanding Bhumandala. And in order to understand this Shastra, we need to dig deep into the Sanskrit, dig deep into the commentaries, dig deep into the science. And when we do, we find correlations that just are wow. For example, how far is Mars from Venus? Well, that was known to modern science around 1860 or so. The telescopes were good enough to do that. The Bhagavatam actually, Puranic cosmology actually predicts it within a few percent. Incredible to think about it. And there's so much more for us to discover. And of course, getting to our core issue, which is life comes from life. Now, in 2023, we don't call it life comes from life. We call it consciousness studies. Same topic, same thing, just the modern language. And that is, can we understand consciousness as the derivative of matter, or is matter springing from consciousness? That is the dichotomy. And we have much Bhagavatam support to discuss that matter comes from consciousness. And then there is scientific evidence of this. For example, we have a collaboration we're developing with the University of Virginia Division of Perceptual Studies. They've spoken at a few of our functions. This is Ian Stevenson's successors, who look at stories of reincarnation, stories of near-death experience, and other phenomena that show that consciousness cannot simply be a phenomena that derives from matter. So these are some of the core issues that we look at the BI. We have about 100 devotees that have some loose or tight affiliation with us. By loose, they get our newsletters, they correspond, they're interested in what we're doing. At some point, they want to be involved. By tight, they're working with us. We get about half of our funding comes from the BBT, and half of it we have to raise on our own. By the grace of Devi Deva, we're beginning we've developed a development office to continue raising funds so that we can support our scientists attending seminars, symposiums, support them for sabbaticals to do writing, etc. Those of us who are the managers of the BI, all of us are volunteers or working pro bono in order to please Srila Prabhupada. So again, I wish I could be with you all in Villa Vrindavan. Some personal issues prevented me from traveling, but I'd love to be there. Sino Mahaprabhu has shared with me the pictures and the brochures, and What a wonderful group of sadhus, and what an exciting time to be there. And besides that, there's great gelato in Italy. And with that, I will conclude now. Thank you very much. My obeisances and respects to all of you. Hare Krishna.